Man, it's been a while since I've seen this come to our neck of the woods. If my memory serves me correctly, it's been about 3 years since we've had a significant snowfall. The last time I plowed snow with a tractor was in March of 2018, and that was a spring nor'easter that came through, and at the time I was plowing snow with a John Deere 140H3 that I had borrowed from a friend, and that was a pretty good tractor. I plowed a lot of snow with that thing, and we haven't had any major snow since then. We've had a couple little snows here and there, but the past 2 winters were pretty dry for the most part. But this weekend they're calling for up to 12 inches of snow in our neck of the woods here in New Jersey. But I've heard a lot of conflicting reports, and it's in this day and age it's hard to know who to really trust. I've heard reports of as little as 3 inches of snow. I heard reports for 6 to 9 inches of snow, and most recently I heard a report for 8 to 12 inches of snow. So, I mean, I don't know exactly what to expect, but I figure better to be prepared. I don't know. We'll see what tomorrow brings. It's been snowing since about noon today on Sunday, and it's 5 o'clock right now, so, and you can see there isn't a whole lot of accumulation, maybe an inch and a quarter. So it's coming down slow and steady, but it's supposed to continue all throughout the night, so I guess we'll see what tomorrow brings. But anyway, I just wanted to throw together this quick little impromptu video of my snow plowing setup for this year, and presumably for years to come in the future. It seems like I've plowed snow with a different tractor pretty much every year since I got into this hobby. I started out with my 210 back in 2013, or 2014 actually, a 210 with the 43 blade. Then I used my 316 Onan with the 54 blade with manual angle. Then I used the 140H3. Then I switched back to the 210 for a little bit, and now I've got the 318, so it's going to be my snow plowing rig for this winter, and presumably for next several winters, maybe until I get a bigger tractor. So I've plowed snow with a couple different machines before, but never with a 318, so I'm curious to see how it'll handle. It'll be nice having power steering as well. It's just another little added luxury. The 318's been promoted to main workhorse around here pretty much. I put quite a few hours on it in the past year or so that I've had it. Actually, it is just about a year. I bought this tractor on February 2nd of last year, and today is January 31st, so it's been just about a year. It had 675 hours when I bought it, and it's got 736 hours on it now, so that just goes to show you how much I've used it. But it's been promoted to the workhorse around here, and I'm looking forward to getting it in the snow. So I just wanted to do a quick video of my my setup for this year. I've run a slightly different setup every year that I've plowed snow. I posted a picture in the community tab on my YouTube channel a couple weeks ago, a picture of this tractor all ready to go, but I wanted to just give an overview of it real quick. Let's see how quick I can do this before my hands freeze. So I got the 318 ready to go. I'm running the custom-made 43 hydraulic 4-way blade. This blade was put together using pieces from a couple of different blades. I took the 42-inch mold board off of my old model 43 blade that I used to use with the 210 because the mount was all bent up. So I salvaged the mold board from that, and I installed a new squeegee bar or wear bar on the bottom. And I know a lot of people they opt not to use the rubber wear bar, but I don't have much of a choice here because I have a concrete driveway, and I would much rather, if I'm going to hit one of the cracks in the concrete, or if I'm going to run into something on accident, I would much rather have the rubber squeegee bar there instead of hitting it with the bare metal wear bar on the bottom of the blade. So I installed a new rubber squeegee bar, or wear bar if you want to call it that, and I mounted the blade mold board to the 4-way hydraulic mount for a 54 blade. This mount is off of the 54 blade that I got with this tractor. If you remember correctly, I got this tractor and a 54 blade as part of the deal, so I salvaged the 4-way mount. And the nice thing about using this 43 blade is that it's a little easier to control. The 54-inch blade sticks out a lot wider, and especially if the blade is angled, it can cause you to lose your ability to steer, which is why a lot of guys like to run front wheel weights. I don't really worry about that because this tractor has the dual independent brakes, so I can use the brakes to steer. But having the 43 mold board on there makes it a little easier to control, and it also fits much easier down the sidewalk, so I can actually I can plow snow all the way up the sidewalk, pretty much all the way up to my front door. So that's a little bit more convenient than trying to squeeze the giant 54 moldboard down the same path. And it actually was common for dealers to convert 54 hydraulic blades over to 43s back in the day. So I'm eager to see how this setup handles, because I've run the manual lift 43 blade and the hydraulic lift 54, but never a hydraulic lift 43. As you can see, the tractor is also now sporting a set of Vredestein V61 front tires. These are my third set that I've installed on my garden tractors. My other two tractors have them. And at this point, I've determined that these are the absolute best tire you can buy. You get the best bang for your buck. They are 6-ply. They're made in Germany. And you can install them with or without tubes, but I like to install them with tubes just for the added, security. And these are a very durable 5-rib tire. They're designed for use on farm implements, but I like using them on my garden tractors because they improve the steering. They don't wear quite as quickly, and in my opinion, they just look a lot better than turf tires. So I had a set of these on the 210 and the 782, so naturally I had to get a set for the 318 as well. Now the tractor does have power steering, but I am curious to see how the steering compares with these new tires, and especially with the weight of the blade up front. So I installed those right around Christmas, and I think they look great. They look better than the old Changshin turf tires that were on it before anyway. If we come around to the back, you can see that I have the, after several years, I finally mounted up my Carlisle All-Trail H-Dap tires once again. They had just been sitting there collecting dust for a long time, so I'm glad I finally have a chance to use them again. These are a 4-ply ATV tire. The H-DAP stands for heavy duty all purpose, and these were designed for use on ATVs and UTVs, but they're also a good choice for garden tractors. And I like these tires for snow removal because the knobs actually flex with the ground. They have very good flexibility, and they provide excellent surface contact. Just about as good as turf tires, but these are a little bit more aggressive. A lot of guys like to run the ag tires or bar tires, but they provide the least amount of surface contact, which is not what you want for plowing snow, especially if you hit ice. If you hit ice, you're going to want to have tires with more surface contact, especially with chains. That combination is what I found works best, especially for icy conditions. So I run my all-trail tires with a set of 2-link chains, and they're also loaded with 7 gallons of rim guard, which is a beet juice byproduct available from your John Deere dealer. I like rim guard because it is heavier than water or antifreeze or windshield washer fluid. It's non-corrosive, it's non-toxic, and it's a little more dense, like I said, so it's heavier. And it's not cheap to get a pair of tires filled with that stuff, but from what I found, it seems to work really well. And 7 gallons is what they recommend for a 23-inch tire, and it adds about 75 pounds per tire. So I've got the 75 pounds of rim guard in each rear tire, and I have a single 50-pound cast iron John Deere wheel weight installed as well. I have a couple other sets of wheel weights, but I'm using them on my other tractors, so I'm just curious to see how this will handle with one set. You will also notice that the tractor is now sporting a 3-point hitch. That was a must-have on my list of accessories to buy for this tractor. So I bought this 3-point hitch kit off of Cameron, the guy who I bought this tractor off of. This came off of a 322 he had and was getting ready to sell, and he gave me dibs on the 3-point, so I scooped it up. And what's neat about this 3-point is it came with the original top link, the John Deere OEM top link, and it came with the extended drawbar, which was not really a rare, but a definitely uncommon option for these. You figure the original drawbar sticks out to about there on these tractors with the 3-point hitch installed, and John Deere offered the extended drawbar as an option. And the 322 that Cameron was getting ready to sell happened to have this extended drawbar that was installed at the dealership when it was new, so Cameron was more than willing to include it in the 3-point hitch kit. So I've never used a tractor with the extended drawbar behind a 3-point, but I'm curious to see how it compares. It attaches to the original drawbar with 2 bolts, but I could probably take the middle one out and use it like a swinging drawbar. I don't know. I'll have to mess around with it a little bit in the spring when I'm pulling the cart around and see. So the tractor has a 3-point hitch, which will come in handy in the future. I'm already looking forward to the spring plow days. This will definitely be a plow day tractor soon. I got the Brindley plows across the street ready to go. I just have to get them hooked up to this once spring comes around. Also, you'll see I've hung a couple of John Deere suitcase weights off of each of the lower lift arms. Not one of my better ideas, but I'm honestly just doing it to test it out and just see if it really makes a noticeable difference. I have the drawbar or the 3-point hitch locked in the raised position. You can lock it out right there at the cylinder by that adjustable rod. So I locked the 3-point in the raised position to take the load off of the cylinder, and I threw the suitcase weights on each arm. I'm curious to see if they actually hold up or if they're just going to fall off. Eventually, I do plan to get a Brindley 3-point hitch A-frame adapter that I can maybe build a suitcase weight bracket for, or just find a genuine OEM John Deere 3-point suitcase weight bracket. But that'll come in the future. I'm not really worried about that right now. So that's just a quick overview of how I have the 3/18 set up for snow plowing. I've been fixing a couple little quirks with it. I had some issues with the starter, which had actually been bugging me since I bought the tractor about a year ago. A common issue with the P-Series Onan engines, they break the starter mounts off of the block. And this one evidently had developed some hairline cracks on the starter mounting bosses years ago before I got the tractor. And they were getting progressively worse and worse to the point where the starter was sitting crooked, mounted to the engine block, and the Bendix gear would not align with the ring gear. So it would just grind every time I turned the key. So I didn't have any choice but to pull the engine out and fix it. So over the course of a weekend, I pulled the engine out, I dropped the oil pan, and I swapped out the oil pan from this B43E engine block that I got with this tractor. Swapped the oil pan over, and I also swapped over a B-Series solenoid shift starter, which is kind of uncommon. You don't see too many of them because they were only used on the 86 model year tractors with the B-Series Onan engines. There were two different types of starters used on these engines, the Bendix type or inertia type starters, and then the solenoid shift starters that had the solenoid attached. And in early 86, when they switched to the solenoid shift starter, they had to cut a hole in the frame of the tractor, or in the engine mounting plane, I should say, to accommodate the solenoid shift starter, because otherwise the engine would not sit flat with that solenoid sticking out. So this, being an 87 model year, had that hole cut in the frame for the solenoid shift starter. And if I was going to use a Bendix type or inertia type starter, I would have had to relocate the starter solenoid to the dash tower on this side. But since the wiring was already in place for a solenoid shift starter, I didn't want to have to change any of the wires or anything like that. So I took the easy route, and I just decided to use the earlier B-Series solenoid shift starter that mounted to the oil pan instead of the block, but also had the solenoid attached to it. So that saved me from having to do any extra wiring. I managed to work out a trade deal with a local collector, and I traded him the original P-Series starter from this engine and a spare B-Series Bendix type starter for the B-Series solenoid shift starter. So that worked out pretty good, and I shouldn't have any more issues with it. I was planning to do the starter and oil pan swap actually this winter when I had the engine out to do this flyball spacer and all the gaskets and seals, but unfortunately, due to our basement renovation project and the garage being all cluttered up, that did not happen. So that's on the agenda probably for next winter. So we'll have that to look forward to. I plan to make some videos of that whole repair as well. But anyway, I think the last thing to do is to start it up and pull her outside. As you can tell, the starter's still a little bit noisy, but hey, at least it doesn't grind anymore. Now, trying to squeeze in between the cars here is a little bit tricky. Man, it got dark real quick, that's for sure. Now it's starting to really accumulate. That's a pretty tough looking snowplow rig right there, if I do say so myself. I'm eager to see how this 318 handles the snow. I don't think she'll have much trouble though. I'm going to try to make a GoPro video if I can, but unfortunately the plastic mounting case for my GoPro actually broke one of the mounting tabs on the bottom where the screw thread's in. So if I go to attach it to my magnetic mount or my head mount, it may vibrate a lot. So I'm going to have to figure out a way to make that work. I'm due for a new GoPro anyway. I mean, my current GoPro is 5 years old and it's pretty outdated. So one of these days I hope to get myself another GoPro. So like I said, I'm going to try to make a GoPro video plowing snow once we get a few more inches here on the ground. It's really starting to build up now, but we'll give it a couple more hours. We'll see. I may have to go out later tonight. I'm not sure. We'll just see how this storm progresses. So anyway, just wanted to give you guys a quick update on my snow plowing rig, and I got to go out and get the generator out and get that gassed up and ready to go just in case we lose power, because I don't know what to expect with this storm. So I'm going to go do that now. So anyway, guys, thanks for watching.